Howdy ladies and gentlemen, my name is Admin. Welcome back to another episode of the Datapacks tutorial. In the previous episode we covered the basics of making a data pack, and if you have yet to see that, check out the link to that video in the iCard in the top right. And I was really blown away by the awesome support that you guys had for that video. I was not expecting it to do very well at all, but you guys seem to have loved it. So here is episode 2 as promised. And if you guys want me to make episode number 3 of this tutorial, hit that like button. If we get to 150 likes on the video, I will make part 3. Alright, so on with the tutorial. So in today's video, we're going to be covering how to make our first data pack. And so let's just jump right into that. In the video description, as well as a pinned comment, you'll see that there is a download link to a template data pack that we're going to be using for this video. It is a good one to get started with, and so download that. To get started, the first thing to actually do would be to make a list of what you actually want your data pack to do. For example, for all of my packs, I have a Google document that contains a list of features as well as the items and concepts or whatever that I want to make for each individual pack. So I would suggest planning out what you actually want to program before you program it. Otherwise, you will be stuck not really knowing what to do. So make a list. They are very important. By the way, if you are interested in seeing my list, you can always become a patron supporter of mine. All of my patrons that are at the $5 or more a month tier have access to this to-do list and can even edit it. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you'll want to download this template data pack. So here it is. It is a .zip file, you'll see though. So this needs to be extracted. You can right click on it, click extract all, click extract. And now we have the actual data pack. Data packs can be run in Minecraft as both a .zip or a regular folder. However, we cannot edit any files that are in the .zip, so it's best to extract it before you want to edit things. So now we have our template data pack extracted. We can delete the .zip file, but let's go over to .minecraft. So I have a shortcut to get there, but you can type %appdata%, hit enter. That brings us to .minecraft. Here you'll find your saves folder, and in your saves folder you should have the world that you're going to be developing in. Today's world is going to be the Datapacks tutorial world, so go into here, go to Datapacks, and I already have the template data pack in here, but I can delete this and then throw the download into here. So now we have our data pack all ready to go. The name of this outside folder here does not matter in any significant way, so you could name it whatever you want. But if we open this, we'll see we have a data folder and pack.mcmeta. Double click on this. This is the first thing we should check. So open this with whatever text editor you have. I would suggest getting Visual Studio Code. It's pretty good. So anyway, we can look at this and want to make sure that the pack format is 6, but in later versions of Minecraft, you might need to make this a higher number. And then here we have the description of the pack. This will show up in-game, so change this to whatever you want. Alright, so next up we have the data folder. Open this, and you'll see we have 2 folders. One is Minecraft, the other is name.packname. Let's get started by changing name.packname to something more meaningful. This is what is going to be called inside of your code, and so it's very important. To avoid overlaps, you want your name.packname as the format. It doesn't need to be like your first name or whatever. I go with was.packname. This helps with compatibility issues because suppose someone made swords and then I made a pack called swords and we both had the same pack name, there would be a lot of overlaps in our code and it would break everything. So for this, I'm going to go with was.cow, and you can follow along with that if you want, or you could change it to whatever, and just remember to do that in the recurring code that we're going to look at in a little bit. We have our tick.mc function, load.mc function, and code.mc function. The tick means that it's going to be ticking, load means it's going to be loaded, and code is just what we can write code in. But what you need to realize is that these function files are made by you. They can be called whatever you want. just because we called it tick doesn't actually mean anything. We need to specify that back in the Minecraft folder. So click on the Minecraft folder, there is now a tags folder, and then a functions folder. Inside this folder, you see we have a load and a tick.json file. We can open these, and you'll see inside of it, it has values. This says name.packName tick, and then here we have name.packName load. This line right here specifies to the game what functions should be the load function and what should be ticking functions. A ticking function means that the game is going to run all of the commands inside of that function every game tick. And a load function means that it's going to run all the commands inside of the function one single time on load. You might recall we changed the pack name to be was.cow. So we're going to need to change this to reflect that. So was.cow load. Save that, and then here we can go was.cow tick. So save that. So we're actually done with these. We do not need them anymore, so we can close them, and let's move on to the actual functions. And we should probably look at them in game and make sure that they work. So the easiest one to test is our load function. Just double click it to open it, and let's just do a simple say loaded. So save this, and then if we type /reload in game, once it finishes loading, the server will tell us that it loaded. We can also test the tick function by saying, let's say tick, and then when we reload this, it should, in theory, yep, there we go, we get a tick, and this is just going to fill our chat with messages. Oh, and if you're curious with how fast I'm typing /reload, that's actually because I have a macro on my mouse to type it for me, because I've been doing this for a while, and you end up typing /reload so much that it gets annoying. So let's get started now and actually make something functional out of this data pack. Alright, so I have a pretty simple idea for a pack that we can make that shouldn't be too difficult, and that would be, let's just manipulate cows to do some interesting things when you get close to them, I guess. Okay, so in our tick function, I wrote a first line of code that is pretty simple. So this says execute as @e type equals cow, @s run function was.cow cow. So this is going to run every game tick. And let's break down what this does. So execute as the cow. So that means we want the cow to run a command, and we want the command to be at the cow as well. So @s. @s means that it's as the person that is the selector. So the cow is already the selector, so then we just run it at my location. So then I want to run a function was.cow, so that's inside of this data pack here, was.cow, :cow. So this part of this indicates that the function that we're running is going to be called cow. We do not currently have any functions called cow, so let's create one. We'll want to go, and we have this code function. We haven't looked at this yet. It's just empty. It's something that you can copy paste really easy. So copy this, paste it, and let's call this cow. And then we'll just say moo in here, I guess. So now if we reload this, all the cows in the world should start saying moo. So we have different cows here, and they're all saying moo. Okay, but all the cows in the world saying moo is pretty boring, so let's do something a little bit more interesting. How about we make it so that whenever a player gets near a cow, it's going to jump really high into the air or something. So to do that, we're going to want to be in the function cow. So to do this, we're going to want to execute if an entity @p, or @, so this is going to always is going to be the player, okay? So if there's an entity that's the player with a distance, we want it to be, let's say, fairly close to. So we're going to check the distance of players that are near me. And let's say if they're within 5 blocks, but this is an exact number 5, so we can do 5 or less. So ... here means that it's less than 5. So if there's a player that's within 5 blocks of me or less, then I want to do something. So in this case, I'll just run moo again, and we can reload. And now you'll see that we don't see any mooing happening until we get close to this cow, and now it moves, right? Of course, saying moo was not what we wanted it to do, so let's do what we wanted to do. That was make it fly into the air. The best way to do that would be to give a potion effect. So, effect give at self levitation. Let's say 1 second of levitation 100. Let's try this on ourself first. And we'll say true to hide the particles. You'll see I go flying way into the air when you have this effect, right? So let's give this to the cow. So we can just copy this whole command from here, replace this say moo with this effect. So now we're saying if there's a player within 5 blocks of us, give myself this effect. So reload this and find my cow. Where did you go? We'll just spawn in one. And you're gone! Way up into the air, and we should see him fall back down to the ground and die. So that might have been a little bit too much levitation, so we can quickly change that. So here's the amplifier here. Let's change it to, we'll just say 30 for now. So reload that, and now it flies fairly high into the air, but now it comes back down. But we have a problem. It is dying, and that's not a good thing, is it? So what if we just made it so all of the cows in the world are invulnerable? To make an entity invulnerable, we're going to need to modify their data to apply an invulnerable tag to them. So to do this, we're going to run data merge entity at self, and then we're just going to go invulnerable 1b, and I should probably spell this. So here we go. If we run this, you'll see we are unable to modify the data of a player. So that's due to the restrictions inside of the game. However, we can modify the data of a cow. So if we put this here, you'll see that the cow, so data merge entity at self, we know that the at self is the cow, so we're just going to set it to be invulnerable. So reload this, and now every cow in the world should be invulnerable. So when it lands, it's not going to take any damage. However, the code that we just wrote is extremely laggy, because every single game tick we're trying to make this cow invulnerable, even though it already is. We only need to do that once, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to add a tag. So tag at self add invulnerable, sure. We'll call it invulnerable. And then here, under data merge, we'll do data merge at self, and then we're going to add a little bit of code to make sure that the cow only tries to do this if it does not have this tag. So we're going to do tag equals not, exclamation mark equals not. So tag equals not invulnerable. And then what we should do, we should put the tag after this. So this means a cow gets summoned into the world. Now we try to do this, but we also will then make it invulnerable, and then we'll add this tag. Because remember, commands happen in order. So now that it has the tag, the next time we loop around and try this again, it's going to say, nope, I'm already invulnerable, I don't need to do anything, and then it will move on. And we should also add this to the tag itself so that it doesn't continue trying to add the tag we already have. So we can reload this, and now we should see the exact same effect happen. It flies into the air, but it doesn't take any fall damage, and we're not killing the performance of the game. So next up, let's do some stuff with particles. Particles are really valuable for making cool effects and whatnot. So the command is pretty cool. We'll just run particle, we'll go with flame. So if we run this, you'll see it causes a little flame particle to appear. We can choose the position this happens at. So let's say like 5 blocks relative to me in that direction. There we go. Now we have flame over there. Though we could also do it like 1 block up, and now it's like at my chest level or so. But let's just leave it at my current position. By the way, if I didn't make it clear, the relative coordinates, these are called relative coordinates. And so they're relative to my current position. And those would be in the X, Y, and Z coordinates. So now delta here, this is for how big of a spread we want it to have. So I'm just going to go with 0 for all of these. and then now we have the speed of the particles. So like 0.1, and then now we have the count. So we'll go with 100. Now we can choose if we force them or they're normal. I'd suggest leaving this normal most of the time, unless the particle is going to happen far away and you want the player to be able to see it. So if we run this, you'll see we get an explosion of particles in every direction. The distance the particles go are determined by the speed. So if we increase this, they'll go a lot further. If we decrease it, they won't go anywhere. And so I like 0.1 for a lot of things, but you'll want to mess around with these numbers. Let's go with 0 for right now and check out the delta. So this is direction in the x, y, and z coordinates, and this determines the spread of the particles. So if we go 1 in the x coordinate, you'll see we get a line of particles. We could go with 1 in the z coordinate as well, and now we'll get a plane of particles. And so you can mess around with these to get like boxes and planes and everything. It just determines where the particles will appear. Let's stick with 0.1, and we'll copy this over to the cow, and we will put it right here, and then we'll grab the if entity part and place it here. So when we reload, you'll see when we get close to the cow, it should play the fire particles as well as flying up into the air. There we go. So now we get an explosion. You'll see that the command ran multiple times because it doesn't instantly leave that zone. So we get quite a few flames. We could, of course, write like a tag again, like we did here, to make it only happen once. But we're not going to do that in today's video. Anyway, this would send the cow flying into the air, and now we have a little bit of a cooler effect. Let's now add a sound effect to it. So the play sound command allows you to play any sound that is currently in the game. So I'm going to go with entity generic explode, and then you can choose what channel it plays in. So these are for like the music channel. So we have like music and jukeboxes and blocks and whatever. I like to put anything that involves like custom items or whatever. I like to put those into player, and then you can put things involved in entities. This should probably go into neutral. Then we just determine who it plays at. You probably want to go with like all players, and then you can choose where. So we just want it to be at the cow's location, and then we have the volume. So this is for every 1 volume it travels 16 blocks. So we'll just go with maybe 2. And then finally we have the pitch. Let's just leave this at 1. You'll see when I run this, you get an explosion sound. So if we grab this whole sound, or this whole command, place it here, and then grab the same command again, we can run this. So here we have an explosion sound that it plays quite a few times, and the cow goes flying into the air. Now you might have noticed that we are using this same 3 selectors over and over again. Hello there, cow. And so this could actually be made better if we made a new function. So we could go to functions, and let's say we make a folder called cow. And then we want to grab code, put this in here, and we're going to call this like fly, I guess. We can now, off of cow, we can grab all 3 of these. Let's actually open fly really quick. Let's grab all of these commands right here, cut them from here, paste, and now we can cut this down to 1 single line, and then we'll go function was.cow, and then we called, so colon, cow, right? But we called this is a folder here, so we called the folder cow, right? So we can do cow / fly, and that references this function right here. So now, if we run this, we'll get the exact same effect. However, it's a little bit more organized. So cow goes flying into the air, but it's running off of the fly function instead of just the cow's function. Anyway, I think that has been a decent introduction to how to use Datapacks and how to like make actual functions and folders and other like commands. There are, of course, a lot more commands than I covered in this video, and a whole lot more to making data packs than just this. So if you do want to, make sure to see the next data pack tutorial. Hit the like button on the video. Again, if we reach 150 likes, I will make episode 3. And I hope you enjoyed this video. There are some resources down in the description, as well as on our Discord, that should help you to learn some more commands, some useful websites and generators and other tools to help you actually know how to make data packs. So you have a lot to learn still, but this should get you on your way. Anyway, good luck making data packs, and I'll see you guys all in the very next video. Thanks for watching.